Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. This is Sonia of Sonia G Coaching, where we promote healing, self love. And tonight, I want to do a reaction to a video or a live that Melody Holt did, or Melody Shari did, regarding healing and self-betrayal. I felt like this was a great video and a great question. This was DM'd to me from a subscriber. They wanted to know my thoughts on it. Because the subscriber didn't make a comment in my comment section, I'm thinking they want to be left private, so I'm going to leave this as an anonymous request. But I very much appreciate the request. I love when you guys have suggestions and there's content that you want me to react to or do. I appreciate that, so please keep it coming. Okay, so Melody is talking about her healing journey, and she talked about self-love. She talked about betrayal in this clip. And I want to first speak to some of the points she made, and then I want to just talk about some lessons we can learn and how to move forward, as this is a learning channel. Okay, so I'm going to play the clip so you can hear the question, and then point by point, I'm going to respond or add to what Melody said. She did a very great job. I think this is great in lieu of what happened in the last episode, and signs of being triggered and things like that. That happens a lot when you are going through grief and going through a breakup in the healing journey. So we're going to start with the clip, and then I'm going to do more commentary on the back end after I go through these points. Okay. Thank you for your patience.
Question and I'm out, okay? So
I might answer.
it was something that you really said that stood out on one of those episodes. And if I got it correct, I want to say you said that your biggest betrayal came from Martell, okay? This question isn't about Martell, so let me go ahead and just clear that up. It's really about you.
Okay.
So when you made that comment saying that was like one of your biggest betrayal, did you ever think about your biggest betrayal? And when I say that, meaning the betrayal that you did to yourself, even to your children.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes parents, they tend to say, I think on the episode you said how intelligent your kids are.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 times out of 10, the children, they know what's going on. So how long did it take you to forgive yourself for keeping yourself in that situation, just for not giving your kids 100% of you just to make them happy?
Mm-hmm. This is a very good question, and I will say I literally just had a conversation with someone about this, either not exactly this, but either yesterday or the day before. So it's layers to it. So I'm gonna try to keep all the different layers. Okay. One, I had to forgive myself for not loving me enough.
Mm.
Because had I loved me the way I should have, right, and had I respected myself enough, I never would have even given somebody so many chances to betray me, so to speak, right, or be a big disappointment. So I had to sit with myself and get over that. You know what I'm saying? And then do the work on why. Where is the lack? Why don't I love myself the way I should? And then I started working on falling in love with me and who I am and all the pieces of me. And part of that included, and was mandatory, for me to be isolated and to be to myself a lot of the time, because I can't learn me if I always got 50 million people around me. I did have to spend a lot of time with myself to fall in love with myself again. And to love me. So that was one of the layers.
So Melody made some great points, and I want to speak to those points. The one point was about solitude, and then the other point was about forgiveness. When she talked about solitude, she said she had to be with herself, right? Solitude is so important and vital for healing. Solitude is a time for self-discovery and self-reflection. It is a time to problem solve. It is a time to think things through. It is a time to really know who you are and what you want. It's a time to ask yourself, are you being your true self in this relationship? Are you showing up as your best self in this relationship and in other relationships? Is this relationship hindering me so much that I can't be better or greater, that I can't be happy or healthy? Where am I going wrong? She made some really good points, and those are the questions you ask yourself in healing. A lot of times we focus on the person and we focus on the situation, and we can say, he cheated on me 5 times. Okay, you took him back once. All right. You took him back a second time. Okay. So once we get up to 3, 4, 5, at what point did you say to yourself, you know what, it's time to go? I have to choose me. And why or why not? And please know that this doesn't mean that you are a bad person. We allow shame to keep us stuck. Shame is a thief, okay? We allow shame and our ego and an image and all of the thoughts of other people to stop us from being happy and to stop us from moving past situations and to stop us from growing as people. Where if in these moments you really sit and self-reflect, you can start to heal your process, you can start to heal your pain, you can start to heal your trauma. No one is perfect. In this world, in this life, we are going to go through things, and you can get over things, and they make you more wise. They make you more confident. They can cause you to build and grow and be of help and service to someone else. But you have to be willing to go through the process, and you have to be willing to do the work, and you have to be willing to acknowledge yourself. So I love that she talked about how she had to take time for herself, and she had to ask herself some very poignant questions, and that is self-discovery, that is self-reflection, asking why and why not. Why did I? You want to know. Once you know your why, you can do the work, right? Why did I stay? Because I was afraid of being alone. Why were you afraid of being alone? Because I don't want to feel being alone. Why don't you want to feel that? Like sometimes we're hiding from ourselves. We want to be in relationships just so we can't be in a relationship with ourselves. But someone else is going to always let you down because we're only human. They may not mean to, right? But because you are looking for someone else to feel so much within you, you shortchange yourself of the best version of yourself, and you shortchange yourself with being your own friend. You have to be your own friend. You have to love yourself. You have to know who you are. People can give all the advice, including myself, that they want about you and your life. We don't all have the same journey in life. We don't all have the same lessons in life. We are not all made up of the same experiences, right? So, what may work for me may not work for you. A large reason why I promote self love and healing and getting to know yourself is because, truth be told, you are your best advisor. I am just here to encourage you to know that you are your best advisor, but you have to learn to love yourself and trust yourself enough to get to that space. Another point that she talked about was forgiveness. And I have a Self Love Sunday about forgiveness, and it is really just about letting go. Letting go of the shame, letting go of the anger, letting go of the frustration, letting go of the ego inflation. You have to let go of the thought of what you thought things were. You have to live in the here and now. This is what it is. How do I deal with it? How do I grow? You can't solve any problems if you are denying that they exist. And that is something that forgiving yourself allows you to do. So, forgiving yourself for the choices you made. When you don't forgive yourself, you hide. And when you hide, you take things out on other people, and you operate out of fear, and you operate out of scarcity, and you operate out of anger and frustration and resentment, because you're hiding your true feelings, and you're hiding your true experience, and you're hiding your true thoughts. Everyone has been through something, and no one is perfect, right? And once you understand that, you won't hold on to an image. Part of Martel's problem, this video isn't about him, but part of his problem is that he refuses to let that mask go. He does not want that vulnerability. It's like, I'm going to be hurt, I'm going to be broken, you're going to see all of the bad parts of me. And unfortunately, it has become destructive. So it's very, very important that you forgive yourself. You have to let go of the things that you feel you are ashamed of. Okay. So let's hear the rest of the clip.
because I can't learn me if I always got 50 million people around me. You know what I'm saying? Because me being the person I am, whenever I am around people, I'm typically tending to them. I'm typically trying to make sure everybody's good. Maybe I'm probably going to cook some food. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to just make sure everybody's having a good time. And that's how I am when I'm around people. So, I did have to spend a lot of time with myself, to fall in love with myself again, and to love me. So that was one of the layers. And it's crazy because, like I said, I just had this conversation. The other layer for me was in terms of my children. So there are two folds to that, okay? Two folds. One of the things is I feel like me choosing peace, happiness, self, and having 4 children actually shows them what it looks like, right, to choose yourself. So I don't feel like I disappoint.
Another thing I want to quickly speak to is what Melody said about choosing peace, love, happiness, and myself. That is another thing that you have to really understand. That's another concept or construct you have to understand. You have a choice. You have power. You have a choice. And a lot of times we give our power away and we allow another person to dictate our happiness. You can always choose, right? It may not be perfect. It may not happen right away. You may have to work at it, but you do have a choice. So never feel that you are helpless and hopeless to the point where you can't choose, right? I know there's some situations where things aren't as simple. You know, when there's children involved, there's a financial aspect to it. Um, just your heart is tied to this person, but you can make that choice. And we can talk about this in more detail later. I don't want to make this video long, but I did want to say choosing yourself is important.
Trade them in any way when it comes to that. I think they will always remember. I say this all the time. My girls, when they become young adults, women, they get married or whatever the case may be, if they choose to get married, they're never going to feel like they got to ever stay in a situation because they're going to be like, shoot, my mama had 4 of us and she, you know what I'm saying? She did X, Y, and Z. And after she left, she did X, Y, and Z. So I know I can do that too. They're going to be some of the strongest women y'all have ever seen. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that wholeheartedly. But the part that I will say that I shared with somebody the other day, where I feel like the piece, which made it almost mandatory too for me to make my decision, was whenever you're going through something, right? When you're going through something and it hardens your heart, that's how I said it the other day to the person, and it hardens your heart. And a lot of times you harden your heart because you're trying to protect yourself because you don't want to hurt no more. You don't want to be hurt anymore. You know what I'm saying? And so whenever you harden your heart because of a situation you're in, you don't get to choose when the heart is hardened and when it's not hardened, right? So everything and everybody that comes in contact with you in that point, they're going to get a piece of that hardened heart. So when it comes to my children, looking back at it, there were times when, because I was so broken and I was so hurt and I hardened my heart because of that I didn't show as much emotion that I should have shown with them, or as much maybe what was it I just said the other day, like physical affection as much as I should have, right? But it was because, and I'm sure it's plenty of women on here, y'all gonna drop hearts if y'all been there before too. Oh, LeBerrick on here, what's up, LB? And I'm still mad about y'all being closed Saturday, but I'm gonna come out Saturday. Don't worry, I'm getting that brisket. But anyway, so anyway, whenever, you know, I realized women drop the hearts, as I was saying it before he came on here. Y'all drop the hearts if y'all know what I'm talking about. Whenever you're in a situation where you're hurt and you know you're broken, it's hard to be as emotional and as emotionally available as you could be. So what I love now, so I felt my children in that part for a time frame, but eventually as they get older and they go through their own situations, they probably will understand. So what I love now is that since I've removed myself from that and I've worked on me and I've worked on my healing, Now, when my daughter walks up next to me and grabs my hand, where initially I might be like, "Why'd you grab my hand?" Then I'm like, "Well, no, she's a kid. She can hold my hand." You know what I'm saying? Let me hold my baby's hand. You feel me? Even though she's tall as me, but I'm like, let me hold my baby's hand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can say, like, my point is, like, I definitely, in assessment, evaluation of everything, and being truthful. I'm being very honest, very vulnerable with you right now about this.
Okay, so my other 2 points. Choosing herself was also for her children. I think a lot of times we don't realize how our energy, our behavior spills over to other aspects of our life. When you're not happy, people know, especially your children. I can tell you as a kid, I knew so much about what my mom was going through and when she was going through it. And I think it's underestimated how sometimes children take that on as there's something with us. There's a burden. We're causing the burden. Because you have a lot of parents who will use terminologies like, I do all of this for you. I'm working this hard for you. And it's not fair to put on your child the burden of the choices you've made. Like you chose to have a child. I know that's not hard. I know this isn't easy for a lot of people to hear, and I'm definitely not coming down on you. I'm just letting you know there are times when, as parents, you guys are going through things and you can't show up healthy for your children, and then you make your child feel like a burden. Although we know it isn't the child's fault, you know it isn't the child's fault. You don't feel like it's really for them to really know in detail what's going on, which it is, and a lot of things can't be understood necessarily at that point. It may take a little more time. Plus, you may not want your child to look at your mate or your ex-partner a certain way or whatever is burdening you. But when you choose not to heal, when you choose not to take care of yourself, when you choose not to deal with issues, when you choose to stay in situations that's just not healthy, your children also bear that burden. Your job bears that burden. Your health bears that burden. So there's so much burden that's added on to your life and the life of everyone around you. You impact everyone, you know. You ever been around someone and it's just like, I just don't want to be around. They're just too much. They're going to snap at everything. They're going to be easily triggered. They're going to be a Debbie Downer. That's what happens when you have not healed from what's going on with you, whether it's one situation or a litany of situations. It causes you to be an unpleasant person to be around, but more importantly, it destroys the relationships around you, which again, you're giving that person, that situation, that employer too much power. That's too much power for someone to take you in a place and put you in a place where they can cause you to destroy every other relationship around you. So I love that she said she wanted her children to know that they can leave, that they don't have to deal, that, it's okay to want better for yourself, essentially, is what she's saying. Melody is setting examples for her children to let them know you can choose yourself. You can be confident to move forward. You can show up healthy in relationships, even when you have difficult times. Life is going to you're going to have difficult times in life, right? It's about how you deal with them. What resources do you choose? Do you seek help or do you stay? Some people like to be victims, right? But it doesn't do you any good. It keeps you in a place of lack. Okay. But the other point I want to speak to is when she spoke about, your heart being hardened. And she said, you're protecting yourself from hurt, which is so very true. It's so very true because you're trying not to be hurt. You decide to shut everyone out. So now you can't be loved and you can't be hurt, right? Unfortunately, the risk we take with having relationships with people and loving people is that they may disappoint and they may hurt. It may be unintentional, or it may be intentional. Some people get sick and pass away, right? But it doesn't mean that they meant to hurt you, but it is going to hurt. But you can work through that pain. You can overcome that pain. You hurt the loved ones. She can't show her children proper affection because she's not available to them emotionally because her heart is hardened due to someone else's choices and actions because of their own insecurities. Because let's be clear, this situation with his infidelity doesn't have anything to do with Mel not taking care of him. I mean, don't get me wrong, they could have had issues in their marriage where he felt like I want more attention and time. That very well could be true, but he definitely made a choice. In his first meeting with Dr. Francis, he said Melody was doing everything. He just did it because he wanted to be greedy. Now the narrative has turned into because she wasn't satisfying me. That's a conversation for a different time. But what I want to say is he made a choice. He made a choice to fulfill something within himself. It has nothing to do with you. We often take that on. We often feel like, I'm not good enough or whatever the case may be. And a lot of times they will spew that on you. They will project that on you. They will use this as ways to gaslight you and to emotionally and spiritually abuse you. But the truth is, if a person decides to cheat, they're making the decision because of themselves. That is a self decision because your character will stop you. Your conviction will stop you. So, especially when you know you have so much to lose, especially when time and time again she has said to him, stop. She has forgiven him. There's one clip where he said the producers asked him, "Do you think she would ever leave you?" He said, "No." And in this last episode, that's really what you saw. You saw his regret that this actually is for real. This is actually happening, and this is everything that I am missing. I am missing this life. This is what I sacrificed. I think it just hit home for him. It became real for him because I don't think he believed it would really happen. I can do more commentary on this later, but I just wanted to point to that. So, hardening your heart makes it so you can't show up your best self in your other relationships or for yourself, and that you can't heal and move forward. And that's too much power to give to another person. So, you have to regain that power. So, let's listen to the last part of this clip. I'm going to give my last point, and then I'm going to just talk briefly about what we can learn from Melody, okay?
And a lot of times you harden your heart because you're trying to protect yourself because you don't want to hurt no more. You don't want to be hurt anymore.
Another point that Melody made that I felt was really important is that she said, when you harden your heart, you don't get to choose when it isn't hardened anymore. That is such a powerful statement because what happens, like I basically just said, is that now you're not available to anyone or anything else. You won't allow yourself to be nurtured and loved from your children, from your family, from people who really genuinely do love and care for you. And most importantly, you won't allow it for yourself.
You know what I'm saying? And so whenever you harden your heart because of the situation you're in, you don't get to choose when the heart is hardened and when it's not hardened, right? So everything and everybody that comes in contact with you in that point, they're going to get a piece of that hardened heart. So when it comes to my children, looking back at it, there were times when, because I was so broken and I was so hurt and I hardened my heart because of that I didn't show as much emotion that I should have shown with them, or as much what was it I just said the other day, like physical affection as much as I should have, right? Realize women drop the hearts, as I said it before he came on here. Y'all drop the hearts if y'all know what I'm talking about. Whenever you're in a situation where you're hurt and you're broken, it's hard to be as emotional and as emotionally available as you could be. So what I love now, so I felt my children in that part for a time frame. But eventually as they get older and they go through their own situations, they probably will understand. So what I love now is that since I've removed myself from that and I've worked on me and I've worked on my healing, now when my daughter walks up next to me and grabs my hand, where initially I might be like, why'd you grab my hand? Then I'm like, well, no, she's a kid. She can hold my hand. You know what I'm saying? Let me hold my baby's hand. You feel me? Even though she's tall as me. But I'm like, let me hold my baby's hand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can say, like, my point is, like, I definitely, in assessment, evaluation of everything and being truthful. I'm being very honest, very vulnerable with you right now about this, just being straight up truthful about it. I had to work past not only getting over the heartbreak, the disappointment, the biggest betrayal, as you said when you came on here, but also forgiving myself for not being as emotionally open and available to my children as I could have been, because I was going through so much by way of their father, of course, but still I was going through so much, right? And so now that I've gotten past that, of course, I still have boundaries with people, but my heart ain't like it was. It's not hard enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can receive love, I can give love. I choose who I give my love to, but I'm able to do that. There are some people you could talk to who know me and say, Mel is like one of the sweetest people I've met. She's so kind, she's so giving, she's so caring. They will tell you all of that. So I choose who I give my love to. And my children definitely are at the top of that list. And so I'm just thankful that I'm in this place now. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so basically, she had to forgive herself for not being there for her children, and she talked about setting boundaries. Boundaries are important. So let's talk about a few of Melody's points that I feel are great lessons. I loved how Melody talked about forgiving herself for not being there emotionally for her children as well. So there were so many great points that were made, and it really speaks to the healing journey. A lot of people believe that once you walk away from something, if you are okay in one aspect of your life, that you're completely okay. A lot of us successful women suffer from this. We feel like because we've gained success, we've pulled ourselves up, we've gotten over poverty or whatever the issue was that we felt we needed to overcome or that we really needed to overcome. We feel like we're okay and we're successful. In a lot of ways, you have done well and you're great, and don't ever take anything away from yourself. However, the traumas, the pain, the disappointment, the feelings of neglect, the abuse, all of those scars, all of that trauma is still present if you've never dealt with it. There isn't a amount of success that can take that away. You can be more comfortable, right? You can be more financially stable, you can be more independent, but what you are not is completely healed if you have not addressed those issues. And healing is a journey. I don't want to say that, you're going to be 100% healed. Life happens, and as life continues to happen, things continue to happen, incidents happen, so I don't want there to be any miscommunication there. But what I want you to really understand is that there is a journey, and you have to allow yourself to go on this journey in order for you to live a fulfilled life. The Melody that we saw on episode 13 would be different than this Melody from this live, right? When Tisha made the comment that Melody sometimes fool herself, although I did feel like that was kind of a dig, but I also felt like there was truth. You can tell when someone is at one point of their healing journey versus when they're at another point. And sometimes we do have to fool ourselves because we're in survival mode. We just want to survive. And Melody had to survive. She had to save face. She had to be there for her children. She had to make sure her businesses were going to be okay. She had to make sure her and her children are going to be okay. So she didn't have time to really mourn and grieve. And that's why I love when she talked about solitude, because that's another process that you go through. You have to grieve that relationship, that past life, the future that you had, the titles. Like, there's so much that goes along with walking away from a relationship, especially one that you have invested a lot of time, especially one for a person that you really still love, but they can't love you right and they can't get right. So you have to let them go because you are literally being destroyed in this relationship. And that's what we can see happening between the two of them. But I think she was still really triggered by him in episode 13 from time to time. And it's natural. That is a natural part of this process. It takes relationships and being in relation to people to really get to know you and know where you are. I remember when I broke up with my ex, and I didn't date for 3 years, and that wasn't like me, but I didn't want anything to do with anybody. I just wanted to be left alone. I needed to heal. I didn't want to be bothered. When I first started dating again, The very first month, I was like, okay, I have to pull back. And I found areas that I still needed to work on, areas that I was still very easily triggered. I had to work on those things. And I wouldn't have known had I not gone out there. Right. And so then I get back out there and it was fine. Be okay with the journey. So, anyway, I don't want this video to be too long. So, let's talk about just a few more of her points and then I'll let you guys go. Number one, forgive yourself, right? Working past the heartache and the betrayal, not only the betrayal of her husband, but the betrayal of herself. And we do that, we betray ourselves trying to please, trying to save face, trying to get by, trying to save our egos. And once you forgive yourself for that and acknowledge the betrayal and then say, you know what, I'm sorry to yourself, forgive yourself and let go of that, you can move forward. And now she can love properly. She can receive love. She can see a future. But she's also okay with herself and she's also in love with herself. And I think that's powerful. She said boundaries. Boundaries are important. Not only the boundaries you set for how other people operate with you and in your life, but the boundaries you set for yourself. Sometimes we betray our own boundaries. If you tend to be codependent or if you tend to be a people pleaser, you break your own boundaries all the time and it allows people to take advantage. And then you put yourself in a victim state because if they're a predator, predators are going to prey. So they'll prey on you and then you'll be upset that they preyed on you. But you broke your own boundary. Had you stood steadfast in that boundary, they wouldn't have had the opportunity. Please know I'm not saying blame yourself. Just look at the situation for what it is so you can have understanding of it so you can operate healthy, right? Next, regain your power. She took her power back. She took her power back and she took control of her life. She is completely thriving right now. She has multi businesses. She's living all of her dreams. She's able to provide a wonderful life for her children. She's doing well for herself. She's happy. She's able to be single. She's on a healing journey. She has regained her power, which is what you want to do. Lastly, her heart is open to love. Open your heart to love. Don't allow a situation or a series of situations to harden your heart. You may need to learn how to navigate. You may need to learn how to assess situations. You may need to learn to trust yourself more so you can trust your gut. But don't harden your heart so that you can live your life without the love, peace, and joy that you deserve. Okay? All right, guys. I hope this video is helpful for someone. Please leave me a comment and let me know. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, I want you to remember to always love yourself for who you are. You guys have a wonderful evening. Take care. Bye bye.